Hello, everyone. What I'd like to discuss is particularly applying what we did in the last video to loans where you have either entirely constant payments and constant interest rate, or you have for basically a chunk of the loan, constant payment, constant interest rate. I'll be more specific in a second. And I also want to briefly discuss loan refinancing. So there used to be a whole video on that and sinking funds, but Exam FM very bizarrely got rid of sinking funds, even though it's an extremely practical aspect of finance, very practical finance. But Exam FM seems to have gotten rid of quite a few practical finance concepts like internal rate of return, net present value, um, certain measures of the quality of an investment. But anyway, this is not for me to ask why, just to teach you guys how to pass the damn exam. Okay, so let's say we have payments K and interest rate J for our entire loan. So as I said, I'm going to apply what we did last time. So in particular, if we apply the retrospective method, and I'm going to kind of repeat the logic from why the retrospective method is true. So we're going to look at what the loan amount grows to, and we're going to look at what the payments grow to. So the value after T periods of the loan is this right here. After T periods, the payments grow entirely to all this here. Add this up, it's KSTJ, as we've done a million times before. So basically, not basically, exactly like we did in explaining why the retrospective method makes sense. The outstanding balance is intuitively the loan value minus the value of all your payments, time valued time valued from the first payment to T. So how much you owe intuitively should be the loan value minus the value of your payments from the first payment all the way to some T. That's basically what an equation of value means, and loans are equations of value. And we haven't done equations of value a long time, so if you forgot what those are technically, then just forget about that. Right. All right. So it's probably more simpler to use the prospective method when we have constant payments, constant interest rate. Because remember what the intuitive um, description or the intuitive reason why the prospective method works. It was just that the outstanding balance is the value of all of your payments. So how much you owe is the value of all of your payments time value to now. So all of your payments after T. And again, that should make intuitive sense. What you owe is the value of all payments, time valued from T on. All right, so what is this? It's literally just it's just well, just take the time value, take the present value of all these. So I got distracted for a second. Here's a time diagram. Easy peasy, like we had in the previous video. Just discount everything from T plus one onward appropriately. All right. And you'll notice that, this literally is the present value time diagram formula at T. Kind of pretend like this is zero here in some sense. Um, so this is just the present value of all these payments at T, and that is literally just intuitively the present value that's the present value formula. You have n minus t of these payments. You can check mathematically that this is true, but intuitively, the idea here is very simply because we have constant payments. this is the same time diagram that we had when we worked at our present value formula for an annuity immediate. The present value formula always gives you the present value at the beginning of the first payment period. That is T at T plus 1. So this present value formula is exactly going to give me the present value of all these payments from T plus 1 to N. Right? So let's do a very easy example. 20-year, $10,000 loan is repaid with 20 constant payments at the end of each year. Buy an OB15. We have an interest rate of. All right, so what do we need? We need, in particular, the payments. So let me just get the calculator out. Yeah. Second. Okay, so 20N. Actually, I don't think I cleared PVM, so I shall not sin and not clear the TVM. All right, so 10,000 present value, 20N for interest, compute payment, 735.82. So yeah, I guess I'll write stuff down. All right, so here, okay, second, better. All right, so my constant payments are 735.82. I don't feel like writing it all down. So constant payments, constant interest rate. So let's do OB15. I guess I'll do it both ways. It's always good to see you get correct both ways. 735.82. A 20N minus 15T 0.04. Right. Stores into one spot. All right, so this is my payments. 5N for interest. Compute present value. 3,275. 70. Okay. Right. So let's do this. Right. Let me just again. I'll just show you the other way works also. So it's 10,000. 1.04. So this is actually a really good check that you're doing things right often. Do it both ways. Looking at 15. And I don't feel like writing K. K is just this here. Well, I guess it's 735.82. S 15.04. Okay, so let's get this first. With my payment, 15N interest, future value. They're very negative, so it's good. Plus 10,000 times 1.04 to the 15. Same thing, 327.75, 70. As it better. So it checks out. They're both Okay, so it's important to note that these formulas hold when we sometimes don't have constant payments, constant interest rates. In particular, if the first T payments are constant and interest is J for the first T periods. And the reason is just the logic that we employed before still holds. If the interest rate is J for the first T periods, this is the loan value at T. This grows by J times 100% per period for T periods. If the constants if the payments are constant for T periods starting at 1, then this is the accumulated value of your payments. It's the value of your payments. So again, the outstanding balance is just the loan value at T minus the value of your payments at T, the accumulated value of your payments from 1 to T, which is just this here. And this still holds if the last T payments are constant and interest is J for the last T periods. Right? And the reason is the following. Well, the outstanding balance is still the present value of all these constant payments with constant interest rate J. So V is just 1 over J here. And this still gives me the formula. This is literally the present value of from T to N, or T plus 1 to N, of this annuity here, this annuity immediate first payment at T plus 1, first payment period T to T plus 1. So it's present value at time T. Right. Okay, so yeah, so let's actually use this to do a kind of interesting example. And I will, yeah, I'll show you an example. I'll show you how you got to be a little bit careful using your formulas. So you have kind of not very strict conditions on these to be true, but you do need things to be true for us to use these things. I'll go through that again. Well, I mean, what it is first T payments are constant and the interest is J for the first T periods for this. And you need the last T payments are constant and interest is J for the last T periods for this tree. I don't think you ever get into exam FM questions where you have all kind of crazy interest rate crazy interest rate or payment change, and you have to be careful with these outstanding balance formulas. So exam FM is nice in that. I don't recall ever seeing it. So I think something like this is the craziest kind of problem you'll ever possibly see. Right? So you borrow 30,000, pay this back with constant monthly payments. I-12 is 3% first 2 years. I-12 is 6% for the next 2 years. Find the outstanding balance at the end of the second and third. All right, so right. Let me draw the time diagram. Great. So we got to figure out what my payments are. All right. So constant payments, but I do have an interest rate change at 2 years, which is 24 months. So this is 2 full years, monthly payments. These are K at the end of each month. Okay, so second. All right, so Jay here, my monthly interest rate is question, the 3% nominal monthly, so 3% over 12 is 0.0025. And here J is 0.06 over 12, 0.00. Okay, so we've done this many times before, so I'm not going to dwell on it. At this point, you really should be able to do this. So the loan amount is 30,000. It's going to be the present value of my first 24 payments at 0.0025, and then it's the present value of your I'll do this in red. So present value of your next loan payments at 5%, sorry, that 0.5%, 0.005. But that gives me the present value. So this is payments 25 to 48, 24 to 25 is my first payment period for these 24 payments. Remember, I always have to do this when we have an interest rate or a payment change. So, right. So this is my first payment period, 24 to 25 for these last 24 payments. The first payment of this payment, the first payment of these 24 payments occur at 25. So this is definitely annuity immediate situation. So present value formula gives me the present value at t equals 20. So then we have to discount by 24 periods with this interest rate 0.25 per. So this is times 1.0025 to the minus, and it's awkward. Minus 20. Right. And if you do this on the calculator, you will get 44.51648K. Right. So solve for K. K is 673, 91. I'm going to take this 673, 9077 sevens, and I'm going to store this in the one spot, right? Okay, right. So right, so we want OB. Yeah, so we want OB well, outstanding balance after 2 years, OB 24 in months. So we do not have a constant here. Yeah, so we can use both formulas for this, and it's good to check in particular that you can use both formulas. So in particular, Maybe I'll do both formulas. We do have a constant interest rate of J for the first 24 periods. We have a constant interest rate of 0.05 for the last 24 periods. So both formulas work. Probably easiest to do the uh, prospective method. Okay, so this is just KA 48 minus 24.005. What is that? This is my payment, 24N, 0.5 interest, compute present value, 15,205. 0.29152. Right. Yeah, again, let me check my answer. So using the retrospective method, it's 24N, 0.25% interest. This is my payment. Compute future value, very negative, so plus 30,000 times 1.0025 as a decimal to the 24. And lo and behold, get the same answer. So, all right, so let's now do yeah, let's now do the outstanding balance after 36 months, right? So yeah, so you do not certainly you don't have constant interest rate for the first 36 months. So I will show you that things go haywire if you try to use the retrospective method, but the prospective method certainly works because you do have constant payments, constant interest rate of 0.005 for the for the last 24 sorry. So yeah, bear with me a second, please. Use my mouse. Bigger. I really got to find an alternative to paint one of these. But so one thing I'm loath to write OB36. Yeah, I can write OB36. So I used to teach this in a totally different way, so it's kind of why I'm hesitant about saying things, but yeah. But again, we got to be a little careful. We do have. So I should maybe be a little clearer in that it doesn't even make sense to use the retrospective method for OB36, and I'll explain why in a second. Yeah, it's not even clear how to use it. So it's not even that the formula gives you the wrong answer. It doesn't even make any damn sense. We even use the formula because well, I'll explain that in a minute. So yeah, what is this? Using the retrospective method, this simply is KA 48 minus 36, which is 12. And my interest rate for the last 24 months is 0.5%. So very simply, here's my payments, 12N, 0.5 interest, compute present value, $7,830.09. Right. So why doesn't it make sense to use the uh retrospective method? So sorry, I'm using the um I just used the prospective method. The retrospective method doesn't make sense to use. Um yeah, sorry. I in my for getting those two, which one means which, so honestly sometimes trips me up. So I apologize if I'm confusing there. I have to even think kind of which one is which. Like, yeah, the reason why using this formula doesn't make any sense is because from 0 to 36, we have two interest rates. We have 0.25% for the first 24 months, and then for the next 12 months, from 24 to 36, we have 0.5% in our example. So which interest rate do you use? Again, it doesn't even make any sense to use this formula. You have two interest rates between 0 and 36. First 24 months is 0.25%. The last 12 months is 0.5%. So yeah, so it really, this formula is the only one that really even makes sense to use. For the, from 24 to 36, you have one interest rate, one payment. Right? Okay, so finally, yeah, let's get to refinancing. So this is uh, probably one of the most practical topics we'll talk about. Nothing too special, really. Nothing too crazy. The idea is just taking out another loan, fully pay off your original loan. And the reason why you would ever want to do this is, um, you know, if you have a loan with a relatively high interest rate, well, interest rates might decrease. So you can often take out a new loan, pay off the old loan. And that's usually allowed. There's usually not prepayment penalties. Um, so yeah. And yeah, interest rates fluctuate all the time. Yeah, I don't mean to inject politics into this course. But if let's say, for example, if you're looking at this video, July 2025, Trump would like a Fed chair that will lower interest rates. So in the near future, if Jerome Powell quits or is not renewed, we might see interest rates go low. So in that case, you would refinance. And the general, so there's like a lot of fees and stuff associated to the loan mortgages. The general practical principle is if you can get an interest rate of 1% less than your original interest rate, then you refinance. That's like practically what you should do. All right. All right, so quick example. Take out a $30,000 loan, refinance it after 10 years. Original loan interest rate is 6% monthly nominal. New one is 3% monthly nominal. Find your outstanding balance after uh, last payment in the 20th year. Do the same thing if you do not refinance. Right, so let's get to it. Let me just this. All right, so let me figure out the original loan payments, and that's easy. I won't even write stuff down. All right, so 30N, 30 times 12, monthly payments 360N. Original loan interest rate 6% over 12 is my monthly interest rate. Present value 30,000. Negative, doesn't matter, of course. All right, so my original payment's 1798.65. Uh, 1798. 60. Okay, so what we need to do now is figure out what my outstanding balance is after 2 years. Sorry, after 10 years. So that's 12. 10 years is 120 months. I'm a little tired right now. Apologies. All right, so it's K, and I'll save K here. So yeah, so use the prospective method. No reason not to. So it's 360 n minus t 120.00.5 percent. And let's see what this says. Your payments 60 minus 120 and 0.5 interest, compute present value, stores in a two spot. 251. These are always fun to do. I guess I'm a bit of a sadist in a sense that they're always depressing to do because after 10 years you would like to think you've gotten rid of 10 years is 1/3 of 30 years. You'd like to think you got rid of 1/3 of your loan. Not even close. You only got rid of half of a third of your loan. You only got rid of 50,000, 49,000 roughly versus 100,000. Yeah, you're paying a lot of interest, but I mean, it's not so bad because when you think about it, your house, the value of your house, generally speaking, accrues interest. It grows. Usually you make off good. Usually make off better buying a house, as long as you're smart about it. Okay, right. So now what am I doing? I am literally taking out a new loan. Um, And to be clear, I should have said this in the PowerPoint. I'm going to refinance this with a new 20-year loan so that in both situations, I have 30 years of loan. I should have made that clear. That's always what we're going to do with these problems, if it's not clear, but I'll be clearer on homework exam. Okay, so new payments. All right. And this, for the problems like this, you really are going to want to use the storage keys. It really just makes life so much easier. If anything, just to make sure you don't get your numbers all jumbled up, maybe just write down stuff to the nearest decimal. Um, but I don't know. Okay. Prime used. Um, Right, so it's this 251,057 18 rounding equals K prime. So 20-year, 240 months. Um, my new interest rate is 3% nominal semi-annual, so 0.003 over 12 is 0.0025. And let's see what my payments are. So this is present value 240 and 0.25 interest, compute, payment 1392.36. So yeah, that's a good chunk of change, about $400 decrease in payment. So there's definitely not any rule of thumb on like, certain percentage decrease gives you a certain payment decrease. That would kind of be interesting to kind of analyze mathematically for practical sake. But yeah, so K prime 1392.36. Okay, finally, yeah, I want the outstanding balance. Yeah, I want the outstanding balance after 20 years total. So it's 20 years from the beginning, if I'm not clear. So it's 10 years into this new loan. So 10 years into new loan. That's E. That's W. All right, so K prime, and I believe I stored this 3 spot. I don't know if I'll need, I don't know exactly what I'll need for the other two. No harm in storing it. K prime A. So this is a 240-month loan, looking 10 years into it. Interest rate is 0.25%. So payments 120N, 0.25% interest, compute. Present value 144,192. 94 cents. Right. So it's not clear what's gonna happen, how how this outstanding balance compares to the outstanding balance if you didn't refinance after 20 years. And that's because with this new loan, you're paying a lot less. So I guess in theory, you could hypothesize that maybe because you're paying a lot less, your outstanding balance is more. Mathematically, I don't recall what is always true or if there's something that's always true. Kind of interesting to know. Does a smaller interest rate always correspond to a smaller outstanding balance? Again, it's not clear because smaller interest rate refinancing means you're going to have a smaller payment that might pay down less of your mortgage. Anyway, so without refinancing, I'll just write it like this. Unambiguously, OB 240 is KA 360 minus 240. The original loan interest rate is 0.005. So 360 minus 240, 120, and 0.5 interest. This was my original payment. All right, so without refinancing, you owe quite a bit more, 162, 101.76. So I won't write this down, but I want to make sure everything is inputted right. 120. I mean, it looks fine. I just want to check. I don't have the answer written down here. Yeah, so not only do you have much less payments, but you owe much less after 20 years. 144, 192 versus 162, 10 cents. So interest rates decrease, refinance. That's the point. You will make everyone, including yourself, happy. You'll have more money. Yeah. All right, so long, take care. Yeah, we're actually already almost 2/3 of the way done with the flying by, especially if you're in the summer. It's absolutely insane how quickly it flies by. Yeah, so long, take care.